A whole lot of difference between her and the cow that leads the class off. I think the advantage the cow that we're leading the class off with, though, would be in the design of the teats, a little more refined, and the cow that leads the class a little more refined in her teat structure. I think her udder probably hold up a few more years than the cow here that we're coming in second with. And that right, the bull calf that she's raising this go around certainly has some muscle shape. Looks like he'll go ahead and grow and develop into a prospect down the road. Cow that we're in the class with, maybe a little less durability to this cow, not in quite as good a condition here today as far as showing what she's got. Maybe her udder development, not quite what we have in the two ahead of her. And then the calf is at a disadvantage because it's much, much younger.
Rolling into your senior yearlings here, folks, in this division here. Here's one again, a lot of practical utility in this particular female, and I mean that, with all sincerity. I think there's a lot of good. Is she the prettiest, wildest looking one you've ever seen out here? No, but I think there's certainly a lot of good in that female in terms of body depth, in terms of shape and muscle. Compared to ideal, we might want a prettier up through that front 1/3 to clean her up through her navel, but I think there's a lot of high quality pieces and parts in that female. Congratulations, young lady.
Entry number 1112, CP Scarlet, exhibited by Taylor Hobbs of Parkton, Maryland, was first late Angus Senior Yearling Heifer.
Angus side again here, folks, senior yearlings, and we have one out here, guys, if you want to take a look at one. And really, if you want to study and see what a senior yearling should look like in terms of body condition, I think we've got a really, really good candidate here. Just so good. And this one, I tell you what, folks, could see a ton more competition. It's going to be interesting and fun to see her later on when she gets out here amongst the rest of them here. But I think there's a lot of quality in that female, really beautifully headed type female too. You study the head structure on that one, and I know people don't talk about heads a lot, but I look at heads on cattle a good deal. Really a lot of quality there in the flow, and so sound and good looking on the move there as well. I like that female a great deal.
Please bring your senior yearling heifers in the ring for division champion and reserve, please. Taylor Hobbs and Hayden Hong. And division champions and reserve, Angus to the ringside. All Angus division champions and reserve to the ringside.
I think in this heifer baby class here, two heifers are very similar. I think when you really start breaking them down, the heifer that I think has the advantage is the heifer we're leading off here with. Up through that front shoulder area, at the point of her shoulder in particular, lays in just a bit smoother. In terms of her joints, the hocks, and I like the flatness in the joints on this heifer a little better than the heifer just behind her. Really long-sided, really clean line kind of a female. that I appreciate in terms of her attractiveness and femininity up through that front 1/3. Again, the heifer right behind her, similar, not a lot of difference in the two. I think this heifer, though, maybe just right at the point of the shoulder, a little bolder in that shoulder design. Heifer maybe a little coarser in her overall makeup in terms of her joints and the way she goes off when she gets out on the move.
Angus breeders and exhibitors, we are about to select our Grand and Reserve Grand Champion female as soon as we get them lined up. All division winners and reserves, please come to the ringside. You should already be there waiting.
Over on the Shorthorn side, we have our champion cow calf was exhibited by Ryan Leister, Cornerstone Cattle Farm, with GLF Linda Miracle. Our reserve champion cow calf pair was exhibited by Nicole Green, Bill Mars, Lassie Rosie. Third place went to Lucas Barnett. In our breaks for our senior heifer calves, we're looking at break 2. Ryan Leister got first with CF Farm Lindy, and Turner Shorthorn got second with TRNR Penny. Now in the ring, we have our Class 1 break for Class 4. And this
folks around ringside, if you would, give all these Angus exhibitors here, Angus female exhibitors, a nice round of applause. You know, if you're one that likes looking at good Angus cattle as I do, or as much as I do, you should have enjoyed the show today. I enjoy going through and maybe even talking pedigrees with some of the folks out in the ring. It's always interesting to see and find out what you like afterward and see if there's a trend on some of these sires or some of these bulls. But, you know, so extremely impressed with the quality that we've had out here in each division. I talked the depth of quality that we've had out there in those classes. And, again, my sincere compliments goes out there to all the breeders, exhibitors here. The fun thing about cattle shows, and maybe this particular show, I don't know if there's one out here that you can say has to win. I don't know if there's that one out here. I think we can go back with all these females and kind of pick them apart and add some quality to them. You know, and they're all rock stars, but it's always interesting to get your division champions out here and kind of sort them together and see how they compare to the rest of your champions in those divisions. I hope you can kind of see the cattle that I like. The kind of cattle that I gravitate toward. And again, I think I mentioned this earlier, I don't care what kind of cattle you like, these are all good ones here. And I hope you can recognize that. These are all good ones. So with that said, I'm going to go out here and find you a couple I like. Congratulations, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, our grand champion Angus Heifer is entry number 1106. Stursback Cattle Company SLL Phyllis 124. She's sired by Stursback Cattle Company SCH 24 Carat. Out of the cow, Stursback Cattle Company SCH Phyllis 754. Exhibited by Hayden Hawn of Windy Ridge Acres in Rocky Ridge, Maryland. Our grand champion Angus Heifer 1106, exhibited by Hayden Hawn. Our reserve grand champ heifer is entry 1074, Heath's Wendy 843. She's sired by Silviero Style out of Full Day Enterprises Wendy.
I think this
exhibited
is probably
by Blair Heath.
I'm sorry. Probably one of the most challenging classes I've had all day, I think. The heifer we're going to go ahead and lead off with, I think, for me, in my mind, puts together as many good things in the class in terms of depth of rib up through her front 1/3, carries that back into her flank, maybe especially when you compare to the heifer next in line. Still pretty feminine, fairly well ties in that front 1/3 in terms of her shoulder. Just when you study her, just not a whole lot that you want to pick apart. She gets out and moves, not cooperating real well for the young lady today, but I think when we walked them the second time, they're certainly adequate in terms of her movement and her looseness of spine. I think not the most highly fitted heifer in the class, but certainly a heifer that's got a lot of quality in terms of muscle and structure and depth of rib and all the things that we're looking for. The next heifer in line, really flashy, really pretty heifer up through that front 1/3, a real nice fitted heifer. That maybe on the, when I get in front of her foot size, I might like to see her a little bigger on that foot, but still when she gets out on the move, certainly covers her track. Heifer that I think when you compare to the heifer just ahead of her maybe doesn't have the natural depth of rib, forerib and back to her flank as we have in the heifer that we're leading the class off with, but a heifer with a lot of future in terms of outcome. I think this heifer's got really straight lines, really feminine, and I think a bright future as she moves along. Next two heifers in line, you know, we could flip a coin and switch, I think, for his type. The next heifer, a little broodier kind, maybe a little more in terms of width of base, but a heifer that when we get her out moving, gets a little shorter, a little more under herself in terms of her movement, maybe tends to widen out through that front 1/3 a bit more, and you can see it when she gets off on the move, tends to restrict herself a little more in her movement. The next heifer in line probably fits the two heifers I led off with more closely in terms of her design, but a heifer, you know, in terms of her forerib back to her flank, maybe not quite as much in that lower 1/3 as we see, and particularly the heifer that led the class for sure, the heifer just ahead of her. I'd probably give her the advantage in terms of movement, but not a whole lot. Again, a heifer that just kind of fits in this hole in my mind today. Next heifer in line, certainly a heifer that has some useful parts. Gets a little bit choppier, a little rougher out over her tail head. Maybe when you see it when she moves, more so than when she's standing still. But still a heifer that's certainly clean and neat up through that front 1/3. Just maybe giving up a little in terms of power for sure. And the heifer's just ahead of her. And the heifer we're in the class with, certainly a heifer at this point in her life, certainly been easy doing, easy fleshing. But a heifer in terms of structure that gets a little plainer off her hind leg when she gets out on the move than some of them in front of her.
Over on the Shorthorn side, in our class break of Class 4 Break 1, we have first place, took him a while. First place, Lee Holland with Perfect View Daisy. Second, Turner Shorthorns with TRNR Lovely Lady. Third, Keegan McGrew with GCR Binney. Fourth, Lee Holland with Perfect View Ova Calico. 5 is Lee Holland with Perfect View Rosie C11K. And 6th was Lainey Mae Burnett with HAA Georgia Rose. Now we have break 2. Break 2 results. First was Ryan Leister with CC Farm Lindy. Second was Turner Shorthorns. Did we do this one? Now in the ring we should have Class 5.
Angus exhibitors, we're ready for your spring bull calves. Spring bull calves. Chester. Chester.
Attention in the barns. If we have anybody that wants to hand out ribbons, please come up to the announcer stand. We need them on both sides of the ring. Well, I thought you would. We only need it on the Angus side. If anyone, little one, wants to come up and hand out ribbons on the Angus side, we would appreciate it.
Blair Heath. Blair Heath, come to the announcer stand, please. Blair Heath. Angus exhibitors, we have our first class of junior bull calves in the ring now. There is only one class 29 February junior bull calf. So we will select our junior bull calf champion in reserve. Then we will move into our late senior bull calves, of which there are 3 entries in the class. Then we will select our senior bull calf champion in reserve. We only have 1 early yearling bull, and then we will select our grand and reserve grand champion Angus bull. Blair Heath.
Quality of depth is one way to describe your bull show here, getting started here, guys. I think it's a two-pair class for me when we go and kind of sort these calves out in their respective groups here. I think we've got two up on this end, 1 and 2. It's got a little more look, a little more balance, a little more substance, if you will, a little more quality, if you will. And the one I'm going to lead off with, I think, does so for me. I think they're close, really, but I think the advantage is when you start to analyze these two right behind their shoulders. I think there's more power, more substance in the bull calf that we're going to start out with. They're right behind the shoulder. Both these two are really good looking. I mean, on the side profile, they both are good looking critters there. When you analyze them from the side, they both got, you know, some body depth and shape and some top shape to them, and again, a tremendous amount of future in these guys. They're both adequate in terms of substance and foot size, and in that regard, I just thought there's a little more quality in the bull that we're going to start out the class with right behind his shoulder and in that four-rib construction, if you will. We've got two on the other end here, too. We've got two on the other end here, guys, too. We're still talking about high-quality bull calves here. I'm going to go with the advantage, the bull calf here with the yellow tag that we're going to land on in third. You stand back and look at him. You analyze his rib shape and dimension and top shape. And these guys are still, again, they're calves and they're still fighting the halter a little bit. But I just thought he's a little smoother made. Certainly in terms of substance and power, when you get right behind him, I think there's a notch more dimension and shape in that one, in that bull that we're going to over the bull that we're going to use there to conclude the class with. The bull that we're going to use there at the end there, not quite the pin width and shape and dimension when you get right behind him. He's got some good pieces and parts to him. We just got to pull him apart, make him a little stouter feature to make him more competitive in this class. Thanks.
Really competitive class of Shorthorn heifer calves over here on this side. The heifer we're going to lead off with is, when we study her, I mean, she's just really attractive up through the front. 1/3, a heifer that's really longer in terms of overall length. If there's an advantage to her over the second heifer, I think she has a little more spring to her rib cage. Definitely a little longer side, a little deeper from forerib to flank. I think when you put her out and she gets in motion, certainly pulls herself together and really pleasing to look at when she's out on the move. I think it's a really close pair, though, that the heifer following her, maybe as I study the two heifers, particularly up through the point of the shoulder and through that front 1/3, this heifer, and again, I mean, it's an opinion. She tends to maybe get a little more at the point of her shoulder, maybe not quite as flat in her joints as the heifer we're leading the class with, but still a heifer that when you look at her from behind certainly has a lot of shape and muscle when you get behind her as compared to the heifer just ahead of her. Maybe just not quite as smooth a package as we have in the heifer that we're going to lead the class off. But I think, again, you know, if you disagree, you know, we can agree to disagree. Really close pair of heifers. The heifer then that we're leading next with, probably one of the more most pleasantly presented heifers in terms of her dark red, cherry red color. Really nicely fitted heifer. Probably where she loses me is when we get her out on the move. She tends to want to crawl up in that top, open up in that shoulder just a bit, maybe a little tighter right in that heart than the two heifers just ahead of her. But certainly a really attractive heifer when she's out on profile and the young man gets her set up and posed. Certainly a heifer that grabs your eye initially when she came in the class, but as I watch her in terms of her movement, and then the looseness of spine when she gets on the move, tends to just get a little tighter, as I said, and maybe opens up a bit and turns that front end out more east to west than what I would consider ideal. But still a really nice, attractive, useful kind of a female. The next heifer in line is the performance heifer in terms of frame size. Certainly a big framed heifer that's grown quickly to this point in her life. Just would like to square her up out over that hip. Particularly when we put her in motion, she wants to get under herself just a little more, maybe not quite the natural depth of rib and forerib that we have in some of the heifers ahead of her, but still big, powerfully framed heifer in terms of this stage of her life. The heifer we're in the class with, again, maybe giving up overall to heifers ahead of her in terms of performance, maybe like to change her just a bit in the way she comes off on that hind leg. But really competitive class of Shorthorn heifer calves.
Over on the Angus side here, folks, I'd like to introduce you to Ashlyn. She has brought Bubba, but let me tell you, his real name is Sheldon, right? Shelton, but she calls him Bubba. And she's brought Bubba to the fair out here this week in this single entry division. And Bubba's got a lot of things going on for him. He's a stout featured one. You like that center body and shape that he's got. He's a belly dragger there. You like that about him. Compared to Ideal, with all that belly that he's got, we might want to give him just a notch more flank there. But from there forward, he's clean chested. He's correcting the angle of his shoulder. He's attractive through his front 1/3, and I like that head shape on a young bull calf like that. Congratulations.
Angus exhibitors as around the ringside are results of the first spring bull class that just left the ring. Entry number 1124, Washington Parker 082, was first, exhibited by Allison Schultz and Washington Farm of Woodbine, Maryland. Second was brought up from another class, entry 1562, a March 22nd bull exhibited by Madison Oler. Third was entry 1123, Washington Diffie, 112, exhibited by Kyle Schultz, Brennan Wayne Harrison, and Washington Farm of Woodbine, Maryland. Fourth was entry 1122, SMF Drizzle 4062, exhibited by Crystal Stowers of Sleepy Meadow Farm in Westminster, Maryland. And the later junior bull calf, entry number 1125, Washington Shelton 162, exhibited by Washington Farm, was first. We're now selecting our junior bull calf champion. Please have your late senior bull calves to the ring. There should be 3. Our junior Angus bull calf champion is entry 1124, Washington Parker 082, sired by Gateway Follow Me out of Washington Pearl, exhibited by Allison Schultz and Washington Farm of Woodbine, Maryland. Entry 1562, exhibited by Madison Oler, was spring bull calf champion.
Over on our Shorthorn side, class 5 junior heifer calves. First went to Peyton Davis with HF Margie Orgby. Second went to Turner Shorthorns with TRNN Rose Lass. Third went to Peter Hoffenstein with HAA Lady Bell. Fourth went to Sejo Quinn Cattle Company with Tawana. Fifth went to Turner Shorthorns with TRN Rose Lassa. Our champion junior heifer calf was also exhibited by Peyton Davis with HF Margie. In the ring now is our reserve champion. Scimitars, I would like to apologize, but right now we're at 3:45 start time. Scimitars, 3:45 start time.
So keep him and let me switch this.
Our reserve champion junior heifer calf was exhibited by Turner Shorthorns from Class 5, TRN Rose Last. Now in the ring, we have Class 9 early senior heifer calves.
Angus herdsman in the barn. After we select our grand champion and reserve grand champion Angus bulls, the order of the group classes are as follows. Group of 2 bulls, pair of calves, junior get, produce of dam, and breeder's best 5 head. I repeat, after grand champion and reserve Angus bulls, the order of group classes to be shown are as follows. Group of 2 bulls, pair of calves, junior get of sire, produce of dam, and breeder's best 5 head.
All right, Angus side here, guys, in your bull division here. We've got a trio of bulls out here, and I think we've got quality again in all 3. You can pick which ones you like. I'm going to sort the ones I like to the top here. Exhibitor here coming out first with this big stout bull calf. I think all these 3 are really rugged made bulls. They're all December bulls. I think he's got the most muscle and real product to offer. He combines that with some soundness and some structural integrity. He's big and bold in terms of his rib. You know, maybe you want to make him a little more smooth up through that front 1/3 in terms of his neck shoulder junction, but certainly a very athletic bull, very square built bull. Bull coming out in second, probably not the power and shape when you get right on top of that bull compared to the bull calf we're going to lead off with. He's a little flatter made in his muscle pattern compared to that top bull, but still a bull that gives you a good look. Again, you like that softness and practical utility that it shows you through that center portion of his body. I think a good prospect there as well. Bull that we're going to conclude the class with. Again, another herd prospect that you look forward and like project him to go forward there. I think there's, again, a lot of quality in that bull there as well. Maybe not quite the power that we saw in those other 2 bulls. And again, he's wanting to fight that halter and maybe not giving me the best look here when you set that one into motion. But again, a trio of high quality Angus bulls in that class.
The late senior bull calf winner and automatic division champion is entry number 1128, Rosada Deadwood J851, exhibited by Rosada Farm of Moncton, Maryland. Second is a full sib, entry 1130, Rosada Deadwood J848, also exhibited by Rosada Farm, and is reserve champion senior bull calf. Third, entry number 1129, another full sib, Rosada Deadwood J850, also exhibited by Rosada Farm.
So on the Shorthorn side here, have a really complete heifer to start this class. Certainly don't, not too hard to find her in this particular class, a heifer that you really appreciate her. In terms of her femininity, certainly lays in nicely in the up to her shoulder. Certainly a heifer with a lot of forerib, a lot of flank. You get behind her, she doesn't disappoint you relative to the class in terms of her muscle mass. Really a wide top female that gets out, covers her track. Just really sound, complete kind of heifer to lead this class off with. Next heifer, I think, in terms of muscle and rib shape, most closely follows heifer that in her own right certainly has some shape to her rib when you get behind her. Certainly has some thickness right through the center of her down through her lower quarter. Heifer that maybe once she gets out on the move, I might change her just a little bit up in her front shoulder design. Maybe gets a little bolder out through that shoulder and swings those legs a little wider maybe than I would consider ideal when she's out on the move. But still a really nice, complete kind of female. That little heifer that we're going to end the class with. I think the heifer certainly has some frame size relative to the class. Maybe just giving up a little in terms of bone structure. Maybe in terms of the way she pushes off structurally off that hind leg, maybe not quite as thick when you get right behind her compared to the two heifers just above her, but still a nice, useful kind of heifer, and the young lady does a good job showing her.
Angus Bull side of things here, folks. What an individual here, and one that certainly could stand a tremendous amount more competition. You know, one thing that I always look at, in particular on bulls, when they get to this size and stage of the game, is their feet. And if you want to study a good-footed Angus Bull, come look at this guy. Maybe back installer after the show, but he's got tremendous feet on him and a well-balanced package and a moderate frame score. You get behind him, he's got some real punch and power that I think our breed could really use a good shot of. He's moderate in his size, but he's so well-balanced. He's square-built and really good-footed bull. Sound moving, sound structured like that one, a great deal.
The first place early yearling bull, entry number 1132, is also junior champion, he being Mitch Wheatland Commander 172J, exhibited by Matt Bauerlein of SAC Show Cattle in Manchester, Maryland. We'll now select our grand and reserve grand champion bulls respectively.
Over on our Shorthorn side, Class 9, first went to Francesca Beloga with Harmony Riley. Second went to Inner's Family with Woodcamp Rosie. And third went to Inner's Family with Woodcamp Laney. Now in the ring, we have our champion senior calf. Over on our Angus side, we would like to take a moment to congratulate our premier exhibitor, Washington Family Farms, and our premier breeder is Full Day Enterprises. You will get a banner in the mail. Congratulations to both.
Angus Bull side here, folks. We're going to keep moving along here. Tremendous representative individuals that we have out here in the Angus Bull side. I guess I showed my cards a bit earlier there, talked that last bull up so well. But again, you start to study his feet and body shape and true shape when you get on top of that one. He's an awesome individual. We're going to go ahead and use him. He's going to be your champion. There for me it gets a little more competitive when we start selecting for reserve, and it's always interesting and challenging when you go on these younger bull calves and kind of project them forward and see what you want and what you're going to do. And again, we talked back on the Charolais bull division. You know, it's all about your respective needs at home and what you want to do with your herd. Whether you're raising performance cattle, whether you're a commercial guy raising feeder calves, or what you want to do there. But I'll go out and show you the one that suits me the best. Thank you for reserve.
Our grand champion Angus Bull is entry 1132, Mitch Wheatland Commander 172J. He's sired by Schaff's Angus Valley President 6847. Out of the cow, Bar EL Marge 13E, exhibited by Wheatland Cattle Company, and Abby Peck of Barline Show Cattle in Manchester, Maryland. Entry 1124 is Reserve Grand Champion, Washington Parker 082. He's sired by Gateway Follow Me F163. Out of the cow, Washington Pearl 186, exhibited by Allison Schultz and Washington Farm of Woodbine, Maryland.
I
Coming
think in this class of Shorthorn females, two heifers we're going to lead the class off with, a little similar in their kind. The heifer, I think, has an advantage here that we're going to lead off with, just a little stouter made overall. When you get behind her, a little thicker, a little wider base than the heifer just below her. Not perfect in her structure, but I think adequate relative to the class to win this class. The next heifer in line, very similar to her in kind. A little harder to get a look at this heifer. She was not down for the show ring today, I don't think. But again, a heifer in terms of her rib shape and muscle certainly fits in the second hole as compared to the heifer here just below her. But a heifer that maybe not quite as big-hipped as the heifer we led the class off with. The heifer we're going to end the class with in terms of depth of rib, both up through her fore rib and back through her flank, maybe not as powerful in that regard, maybe not as wide when you get right behind her as the two heifers just ahead of her.
Simmental's exhibitors, we're pushing you to 4 o'clock. I apologize. Simmental exhibitors, 4 o'clock. Simmental exhibitors, 4 p.m.
First place, Angus group of 2 bulls. First is Washington Farm, second to Rosetta Farm. Pair of calves come in the ring, followed by Junior Get of Sire. Produce of Dam and Breeder's Best 5 head.
Aubrey Short, you are needed in your class 13. Aubrey Short, class 13.
Angus Junior Get a sire entries. Junior Get. Angus Junior Get. Bring them in the ring. Results of the pair of calves are as follows. Group exhibited by Washington Farms pair of calves is first. Second is Crystal Stowers. Third and fourth pair of calves exhibited by Washington Farm. Angus Jr. Get a sire in the ring.
Over on our Shorthorn side, Class 12. First went to Addie Wagner with AMW Lady Liberty. Second went to Lee Holland with GCC Margie. And third went to Ryan Leister, Cornerstone Cattle Farm with CC Farm Mighty Vision. Now on the ring on the Shorthorn side, we have Class 13. Shorthorn Plus exhibitors, you will follow the Shorthorn show as soon as it's done. I will keep you posted on that time.
Angus exhibitors, Produce of Dam. Angus Produce of Dam. The first place Junior Get of Sire was exhibited by Washington Farm, and second to Rosita. Be getting your Angus breeders' best 5 head to the ringside. Blair Heath and Hayden Hawn, 5 minutes. Blair Heath and Hayden Hawn, 5 minutes to the picture area. Last call for Produce. Angus Produce, last call.
Again, really challenging class. I think to sort through here just, again, gets into a lot to do with preference. I think we're going to lead the class off with the heifer. I think in terms of balance, in terms of she's not the thickest heifer in there, but I think adequate in that regard. One of the sounder heifers in the class in terms of her movement, not perfect in that regard, but relative to the class, I think she's probably good enough to get her to the front. The next heifer in line, I think, probably more closely follows her in type and kind. Maybe a heifer with a little heavier bone than the heifer we're leading off with. But when we put this heifer out on the move, maybe just seems a tick straight out of her front. Maybe not quite the flank and forerib as we have in the heifer that just leads off in front of her. Really attractive heifer in her presentation, really nicely fitted. I just don't think she has the rib shape and rib depth as compared to the heifer just ahead of her to win the class. Then we get to the heifer that's kind of the different type heifer in the class, maybe a little smaller frame kind of a heifer. Probably one of the thicker heifers in the class, but when I study her up to her front 1/3, probably like to change her right down to the point of her shoulder. Heifer maybe just not quite as smooth in her overall makeup, in my mind, as the two heifers ahead of her. But certainly probably a matter of opinion whether you put her first or whether you put her third in this particular class. The heifer we're going to end the class with, I think a heifer just gets a bit coarser and tighter, more restricted in her movement up through that front end, gets under herself a little more and gets a little tighter in terms of when she gets out trying to travel.
All you Harrisons got a best 5 head, bring them in here. Last call, Angus Breeder's best 5 head. And well, Dr. John, thank you very much for all your help and assistance here today. And on behalf of the Maryland State Fair and Agriculture Society, express our appreciation to all the breeders and those sponsors of various awards and so forth. Before I go any further, I need to see a Schultz over here or a Harrison, one of the two. Melissa. Hey, Harrison crew, hold up in the barn. Angus breeders, let's give Mr. Adam Hayes a nice round of applause on placing here 57 head of Angus here today. For those of you who may not know, we really appreciate Adam taking time out to come up here today on a very, very short notice. Calvin, if you want to go get dinner, you can still go get dinner and come back in time for the Supreme, because it's going to be a while. Simmental, we're ready to start your show. Cow calves, if we got any.
What a maternal duo that we have here in your Simmental show here, guys. Getting in started off. Big, stout, powerful cow. I think describes the blaze-faced red one that we're going to start the class with. So good, and I think really nice in terms of her udder, really nice in terms of her top line, nice in terms of her shoulder blade. Again, compared to ideal, if we're going to change that one, certainly want to clean that brisket up ever so slightly there. I think for this particular breed, we got to accept a little bit more of that, but there's a lot of good in that pair. You like that pretty blaze-faced heifer that she's got on the side, a lot of future in that one as well. Young man's brought us a 2-year-old here, coming out next in line, that black body. Really, really stout-made, stout-featured bull calf at side. She's doing, again, an exceptional job as a 2-year-old. Again, that big stout red cow is a 4-year-old, so she certainly has the advantage. In terms of age, in terms of maturity, a little more udder, if you will, at this particular stage. But I think there's are 2 high-quality cows there and 2 really good calves there on them at side. Thank you.
Is there any 4-H or FFA member in here that would like to pass out ribbons? Please come up here to the desk. Any farm queen, breed queen, princess or something? Those of you of the Simmental breed, the first class entry number 1429, CLO Blazing Fire 70 CF, was first place cow calf and automatic champion cow calf, exhibited by Isabel Smithson of Pondview Farm in Whitehall, Maryland. Second in class and reserve champion cow calf was entry 1428 CHS/HFS Alley H120, exhibited by Chase Harwood of Little Creek Simmentals, Forest Hill, Maryland. Simmental spring heifer calves are now in the ring.
Again, another really challenging class to sort through. We're going to go ahead and use the heifer. I think that puts the most things together for me. This heifer, when I really appreciate her, is when she's moving. When she stops and goes to sit up, she wants to get up just a bit in her loin, but when we put her on the move, that certainly is not inhibiting her movement at all. In fact, she's the most powerful and fluid in her movement of any of the heifers in this class. Right now, when you see her on the move is when you appreciate this female the most. Certainly really wide sprung, really deep in her forerib, really deep flank, wide base female that I appreciate for overall mass in terms of muscle and rib shape. Next heifer in line, one that's certainly the longer sided of the two. This young lady does an exceptional job getting her shown. The heifer's well mannered. And she's getting the most out of her. Really long-sided heifer that in her own right really structurally sound in terms of her foot placement. Just a heifer maybe in terms of when I get right behind her maybe doesn't have the mass that I have in the heifer that's leading the class off. But again, matter of opinion, you could flip those heifers and make a case either way you want to sort them. Next heifer in line, I think probably more closely fits to the two heifers we started the class with in terms of straightness of line and eye appeal. Heifer, though, that maybe when I get her out, she tends to get more up under herself and gets a little stiffer up in the middle of her spine when she gets off to move. Maybe would like to clean her up right down in her brisket area between her front legs. But still a really complete, really functional kind of heifer. Heifer we're in the class with still has some useful parts to her, just a little plainer in her overall makeup in terms of structure. Certainly not as extended out through her front end as some of the heifers ahead of her, but still a useful kind of heifer.
In the Shorthorn side, Class 16, April Junior Yearling Heifers, first place goes to Cedar Spring Livestock, Aubrey Short, HAA Italian Sham. Second place, Megan Keeney with NPS Desert Rose 131. Third place, Ryan Leister, Cornerstone Cattle Farm with CC Farm, the Mighty Bug. And fourth place goes to Lorelei Barnett, Red Power Valley Farm, CC Farm Jewel. In the ring should be Class 17, March Junior Yearling Heifers on the Shorthorn side.
Once again here, folks, this early heifer calf division brings some challenges, and mostly challenges in terms of disposition on how we're going to show these things out here. Again, these are just calves, and most often the first time in the ring here, and there's some challenges there as well, getting these cattle shown like that. I think the top two heifers in this class, or the top or two heifers, I should say, are the black females, respectively, coming out here. We've got some differences there in terms of look. In terms of design, I'm going to go ahead and give the nod, I guess, to the young ladies heifer, in particular when you start to study front end shape and how they come out of that shoulder. And again, I don't read too much right now, and I've always been one to project these things later on down the road, if you will. And that one suits my speed, I guess, for futuristic ability in terms of how that one's built, how well she's put together, and just that look that she gives you. Love the cow prospect here in 2. And again, you love that center body that she possesses. Again, maybe not as neat and crazy looking out through her chest floor, not as high tying, if you will, as the heifer that we started the class with. But from there back, she's exceptional, I think, in her body design, her hip shape, her structural integrity. Brings a lot of powerful pieces to the ring. When she goes into motion, she wants to get that top up ever so slightly. If we get her to relax that top, and again, I think that's getting picky on a nice one there. 2 good heifers there to start out your Simmental show with. And we've got some decisions to make here in 3 and 4, I should say, between the red pair. And again, they're both all over the place in terms of the halter, so it's hard to get a good read on them in terms of structural integrity. They're both good looking. I went ahead and give the advantage here. I thought this one has the next notch more punch and power. When you get right on top of them, comparatively speaking, to the next one in line there, next blaze face. Heifer that we're going to conclude the class with, the black female, really high-performing female. We like that about her. You like the body shape. I just like to piece her together a little bit better and kind of combine all those good attributes in a much smoother package when we compare her to the rest of the field in this class. Thanks.
Nice pair of heifers to start this class off with. A little give and take for me. I think the heifer that we're going to lead the class with, though, just to me is a little broodier in terms of the way she goes together, a little more feminine up through that front 1/3. Certainly lays in a little nicer up through that shoulder, particularly down in the lower shoulder. Really like the angle to her shoulder when she gets out on the move. She's certainly designed to move well. Probably getting a little tighter in her movement because, in my opinion, for my program, she's just a bit north of ideal in terms of her conditioning. Probably like to take a little of the bark off of her, but I'm not gonna penalize her in this class to the extent of moving her down a notch. I think she's still got a lot of high quality parts. Certainly a deep ribbed heifer. Certainly a heifer that has some dimension to her. Really long-sided, long hip. Those things I appreciate about her and get her to the top of the class. The next heifer I first want to admit that is fresher in her conditioning today, a little fresher in her overall appearance. But when I start to really break them apart and study, this heifer just a bit coarser up through her front end as compared to the heifer just ahead of her, but still certainly adequate in terms of femininity. This is a compared to game, so I think the heifer that we led the class with probably excels there in that regard, but still a really functional, really complete, really sound kind of a heifer to follow here in second. The heifer we're going to end the class with, giving up a bit in terms of overall dimension. You get behind her, she just not got the width of base or no the boldness to the rib cage as the 2 heifers that we have just ahead of her.
Ladies and gentlemen, in our Simmental class, spring heifer calves that left the ring. First went to entry 1432, RWFC Kim K224K, exhibited by Water Cattle Rough, Sevillesville, Maryland. Second to entry number 1433, Full Day Sioux Steel K203, exhibited by Dustin Douglas of Full Day Enterprises, Westminster, Maryland. Third to entry 1431, SSC Miss Red Hot 53K, exhibited by Justin Culler of Winter Springs Farm in Frederick, Maryland. Fourth was entry 1430, Pondview Blazing Peaches, exhibited by Isabel Simpson Smithson of Pondview Farm in Whitehall, Maryland. And fifth to entry number 1434, Pondview Ours, also exhibited by Pondview. Simmental Junior Heifer Calves in the ring. Upon the completion of this class, we will do Junior Heifer Champion and Reserve.
The semi side of things here, guys. Again, we've got two that are drastically different in terms of type and kind and build and all that, but I think we got two that are still good in terms of quality. The black heifer that we're going to lead off with, certainly wish she had that body depth and shape of the heifer then too, and I think that's interesting when you start to sort these calves and kind of, again, you forecast them down the road, and that's kind of how I see them. You know, I love the exceptional look and quality of that black heifer that we started the class with. If we could give her a bit more punch down underneath, I think she'd be really, really good there. But she's exceptional how she comes out the top side of her shoulder. She's square built on all four corners in terms of her feet and legs, gets out and sound moving. Here's the power female, the red heifer here that we're going to land into. We just got to refine that thing through her shoulder, her head, and her neck to make her better in this class. There's no doubt she's a power heifer. She's got that top shape. She's got an abundance of shape and rib. You love the power in her stifle. We just got to pretty that up and make her a little bit neater in that total package there to get her to compete against that black heifer that we started the class with. Nice pair, though, guys. Good class of semis there.
Simmental Breeders' results of Class 5 Junior Heifer Calves. First went to entry 1436. GCR Leaping Mary R. Exhibited by Audrey Robertson of Gypsy Creek Ranch, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Second to entry 1437. Pondview Honeysuckle, exhibited by Charlotte Smithson of Whitehall, Maryland. The Junior Heifer Calf Champion was entry 1432. RWFC Kim K224, exhibited by Roughwater Farms of Sibyllsville, Maryland. And the reserve junior calf champion was entry 1433, Full Day Sioux Steel K203, exhibited by Dustin Douglas of Full Day Enterprise in Westminster, Maryland.
Wow, I really like good cattle. And I think we have an example of that in the ring right in front of us right now. Just an exceptionally good female. Really like her depth of rib. I mean, she carries it up through that forerib, just back through her flank. Just really chiseled out nicely up through that front 1/3. Really straighten her lines, really attractive on profile. You get behind her, just got a massive top and hip in her. Super sound, super feminine. She just kind of like the way we would draw them if I had the ability to draw. Just a really good female. I would be hesitant to criticize her from much of any regard. The next heifer in line I think most closely follows her in terms of type and kind. Again, 3 heifers in this class in my mind. Just bad luck they got stuck all in the same class together. Again, this heifer in second, just really powerful. You get behind this heifer, she might be the most powerful in terms of width of base when you look at her from a rear view than any heifer in the class. Really deep middle, deep flank, boldly sprung heifer that I like really, really well when she gets out. If I wanted to criticize her a little bit, but it's splitting hairs, you know, maybe again, they're getting on in age, but, you know, I might clean her up in that brisket just up through her front end, but again, certainly acceptable in that regard. Again, the next heifer that follows very similar in type and kind to the 2 heifers ahead of her. A heifer that certainly got some depth of forerib and depth of flank. Definitely thick, not quite as thick as the 2 heifers ahead of her, but still for sure adequate in that regard. Certainly sound when you put her out on the move. The next heifer we have here, certainly a big, powerful heifer. Maybe not quite as easy to look at when you put her on the move in terms of fluid and ease of movement, but still a really powerful kind of heifer in terms of muscle mass and rib shape. The heifer we're in the class with here, heifer just gets a bit outpowered in terms of muscle mass and rib shape and depth, but still a really functional kind of heifer.
Simmental side of things here, guys. This is Mabel and Reese, and they brought us 2 really high-quality Simmental females here out in this calf division. I'm going to go ahead and give the advantage to Maple up here with her red blaze-face semi-heifer out here. That one does a lot of interesting things, guys, when you start to study that one. She's got some power, some substance to width, and she still combines that with some athleticism and some smoothness, if you will, when you start to analyze that one. There's a lot of future in that female. I like that one a good bit in terms of her length of body, her squareness, and still having some punch and power and flair when that one gets out and goes. This one coming out, the black heifer coming out second, not quite as stout, not quite as powerful as the heifer that we started with, and I don't think she combines that in as smooth package. You know, when she gets out and goes, I don't think she handles her hop top nearly as well as the heifer that we led off the class with there. But these are 2 good heifers. My compliments to both the young ladies in that class. Thanks.
Simmental Early Summer Yearlings. Simmental Early Summer Yearlings. The Simmental Late Senior Heifer Calves. First went to entry 1438, Pondview Holly, exhibited by Mabel Smithson of Whitehall, Maryland. And automatically the champion senior heifer calf. Second in class was entry 1447, brought up from class 22, exhibited by Reese. What is that? Entry 1447, brought up from class 22, was second. In the ring now are our Simmental Early Summer Yearling heifers.
Attention in the Shorthorn show. Class 18 junior yearling heifers. First place went to Keegan McGrew with CF Mona Lisa. Second place went to Adney Wadner with Midnight Fancy 108. Third place went to Rough Water Cattle Company with LWFS Mona Lisa. Fourth place went to P. Davis with SFF Nebraska Queen. And fifth went to Samantha Heston with RBJT Perfection Primrose. We're selecting our junior champion heifer in the Shorthorn ring.
Semi-side here again, guys. Really a beautiful blaze face, black blaze face female that we're going to begin the class with here. One thing that gets my attention immediately is how fresh she is in her condition. Certainly appreciate that about her. She's probably a little more clean, I guess, when you study up through her chest floor in terms of her neck than the female there in second. Probably not as progressive in terms of her muscle and build as the heifer in second, but I think when you start to study the top line and hip shape of that heifer, I think she has those advantages good enough that we're going to lead off with her in first here. Red heifer that we're going to land on here in second. I think that's a stout featured one, guys. You start to study the muscle and power and shape in that one. There's a lot of high-quality pieces and parts there. Again, if we can neaten that one up, extend that front end, clean her up through her chest floor, make her a bit more competitive there to go against that black blaze face heifer that we started a class with. But I tell you what, guys, this is a good one in terms of structure, in terms of movement, in terms of mobility. She can get out and go. Let's just make her a little neater in terms of her package. Heifer, we're going to conclude the class with, she just gets a little tighter spine for me. She's not as relaxed in her spine. She's not as good in terms of going out, in terms of her front end, in terms of getting out and go. When he gets her stopped and parked, she's as pretty. She gives you a tremendous look from the side. We just got to get her to relax a little bit in terms of handle that spine just a notch better than what she does out here today. Thank you.
Scimitar exhibitors, we're ready for Class 16 April Junior Yearlings. We only have one. Class 17 is March Junior Yearlings. Results of the early summer yearling class that left the ring. First was entry 1440, Pondview Lilac, exhibited by Charlotte Smithson of Whitehall, Maryland. She automatically championed intermediate heifer calf. Second to entry 1439, Pondview Foxy, exhibited by Mabel Smithson, also the reserve intermediate calf champion. Third to entry 1441, TCL Glocks Ellie, exhibited by Peter Huffines of Abbottstown, Pennsylvania.
Junior heifer calf champion was Keegan McGrew with CF Mona Lisa. Reserve junior champion heifer was shown by Addie Wagner with Midnight Fancy. We now have Class 22 in the ring, early senior yearling heifer. As soon as this class is done, we will be picking our grand champion heifer. So all the champions and reserve champions need to be in the makeup area.
It's a big stout, kind of a senior yearling heifer here in this single entry class. Certainly got some muscle shape to her when you get behind her, some width of base. Heifer that maybe we want to change her a bit, but we might smooth her up through that front 1/3, and out, extend her out through her head and neck area. But still, you got to appreciate the heifer in terms of her power and muscle and depth and boldness of her rib.
The winner of Class 22 Early Senior Yearling Heifer was Colby Huff, Woodcamp Farm, with Woodcamp Lacey 71H. It was also your senior champion heifer. We're getting all our champions and reserve champions in to select our grand champion Shorthorn heifer.
Scimitars, we're waiting.
Very intriguing, compelling female here, semi side of things. Again, a nice baldy kind of cow prospect here as you go on. Very attractive in her build and makeup. A lot of constructive power in terms of how she's built, in terms of bone and foot size. Up through her hock there again. With that, you know, you take some of those maybe not being as flexible as she could be when you set that one into motion. But again, that's getting pretty picky on a really nice heifer. She's extremely well balanced from the side. Maybe not as square built up over her hip when you get right on top of her, but exceptional female. Like that one a good bit. Thank you.
We're ready for Class 17, March Scimitar Junior Yearlings in the ring. The first place April Junior Yearling Heifer, entry 1442, BCH Shelby 02J, was exhibited by Grady McGrew of Gypsy Creek Ranch, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Again, very pleasing when we get these champions and reserve divisions back out for the championship drive. Some of the classes pretty challenging as we sorted through them, but when we get them back out here, I think we got some similar kind of cattle, as close as we can get to similarity of type as what we had to work with. But I'm pleased with from the calf all the way back to the senior yearling, the kind of females I think there's one female that kind of jumps off the page at me, and then we'll get back out here and sort for reserve. Really nice set of females. Congratulations to you Shorthorn breeders.
Single entry here, guys, on the semi side of things, and but one, I think for me, I think she's exceptional in terms of her build, exceptional in terms of her structure, her overall makeup. She gives you a nice look from the side too. You know, if I'm going to clean that one up, we're going to refine her through that chest floor again, ever so slightly. But again, with the breed, you got to accept a little bit more of that. I think she's adequate in terms of her muscle pattern. She's good in terms of her structure and wheels. Gives me a good look from the side. Nice, complete female to here in your class here, semis. Thank you.
Class 18, January, February, Simmental Yearlings, please. Results of Class 17, March Junior Yearling Heifers. First was entry 1443, CCS/JS Midsummer 36J, exhibited by Full Day Enterprise of Woodbine, Maryland. Down the ring are our January and February Simmental Junior Yearlings.
Our grand champion, Shorthorn Heifer, goes to Keegan McGrew with CF Mona Lisa. Alyssa Slimmer, you or someone from your family needs to go to the goat barn immediately. And reserve champion Shorthorn goes to Addie Wagner with Midnight Fancy 108. Congratulations. We're going to take pictures after the group of females. Class 27 is group of females. We need Colby Huff, Ryan Leister, Aubrey Short, Turner Shorthorns, Lee Holland, and Rough Water Cattle. We'll take pictures after the group of females.
Semi-side again here, guys. My sincere compliments to the exhibitors out here and this trio of very intriguing females that we have out here. There's some differences out here. Let's talk about them. Let's discuss them. In particular, these top two females, I think, are very competitive, and you can do some different things with these two top females. I chose to go with the fresher appearing heifer. I think she's more acceptable, I guess, up out of her front end in terms of how that blade is laid in there, in terms of the length of the neck, in terms of the attractiveness, if you will, through that front 1/3. A little neater up through her chest floor from there back. She's acceptable in terms of her body and shape. I think she offers a notch more flexibility when you set that one into motion. She doesn't have that power and that 3/4 cow power view. When you get on this heifer in second from that 3/4 view, she's extremely impressive in that regard. I just like to freshen this one up just a little bit. And again, we get these heifers a little older. They've been in a show barn a while. It's hard to keep them fresh. The heifer here, I just like to melt her down just ever so slightly. Does she make her a bit notch more attractive? Maybe lengthen out that front 1/3 and get her to go with a bit more comfort than what she does off those rear two. I think that's the critical difference for me between those top two pairs there. And again, they're extremely good in their own right. Black heifer that we're going to conclude the class with, she is a little fresher appearing heifer. Certainly like that about her. Certainly like that body and length of spine, length of hip, top shape about that one. Lacks a little bit those extras that we're trying to find here to make her more competitive with those top two females in that class.
Simmental exhibitors will now select our junior champion heifer. If we could have the three classes, the junior yearlings, the winners of each brought in the ring. Entry 1442, Grady McGrew. 18-14-43, Full Day Enterprises. Results of the January-February Simmental junior yearlings that left the ring. Entry 1445, JSOL TSSC Cherry Cola was first, exhibited by Justin Teeter of Cleveland, North Carolina. Second, new entry 1444, CNS/HFS/Bram Alley, exhibited by Isabella Smithson of Whitehall, Maryland. Third, entry 1446, Pond View Roxy, exhibited by Mabel Smithson of Whitehall, Maryland. We will now select our junior and reserve junior champions and then go right into our senior yearling class, which we only have one. You don't have a senior yearling?
It was in the wrong class.
Please bring your division and reserve division champions to the ringside. We will select grand upon the completion of the junior champion in the ring.
How many bulls do we have in the Shorthorn?
On the Shorthorn side, we're ready for Class 28 Spring Bull Calves.
Okay, folks. The junior champion Scimitar Heifer was entry 1445. JSOL TSSC Sherry Cola, exhibited by Justin Teeter of Cleveland, North Carolina. Entry 1445, junior champion Scimitar Heifer. Entry 1442 was reserve junior champion BCH Shelby 02J, exhibited by Grady McGrew of Gypsy Creek Ranch in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I'm told we are now ready to select our grand and reserve grand champion Scimitar females.
Couple of really nice bull calves to lead off this Shorthorn Bull Show. I think the bull that we're going with wins the class fairly handily when you start studying him in terms of his center muscle mass when you get behind him. Certainly a bull in terms of his rib shape to this stage of his development excels, and with regard to the bulls that are further down in the class, but just a complete kind of a bull calf. Certainly looks like he's got some future to him. The next calf in line, probably most similar to him as far as top and kind, bull a little deeper sided than the 3 calves just below him. Maybe not quite the muscle when you compare him to the calf just ahead of him, but still adequate, particularly when you compare him to the next calf behind him, the white calf. The white calf, certainly in terms of his structure, I like the way his joints go together. When you compare him to the calf just below him, a little nicer. You get behind him, maybe not quite the muscle mass that we have, particularly in the calf that leads the class off, but still in terms of his design, certainly pleasing in that regard. Next bull in line, certainly a heavy muscle bull, but when you study him in terms of his joints, tends to be a little coarser jointed, both on his joints in front and on his hocks and his joints behind. Concerns me on a calf this young in terms of his longevity, but a calf you certainly need to appreciate him in terms of his overall muscle mass. Calf we're going to end the class with, just giving up quite a bit in terms of performance to this stage. I'm assuming probably one of the youngest calves in the class.
Back to the semi-side of life here, guys, as we prepare for your champions out here. I just want to once again exhibit my sincere congratulations and compliments to the breeders here. Maybe not the numbers that we saw in some of those earlier breeds here, guys, but the quality. Extremely pleased with what we've had out here in the respective divisions. And I hope, once again, I hope you can kind of see a pattern of what kind of my natural speed and what I kind of gravitate toward in terms of quality, structural integrity, foot size, and combining that with an exceptional look, if we can do that, is the kind of naturally gravitate toward. And I think we've all got that out here. The Simmental breed, they're naturally a little more pulled apart, a little more substance to them. Certainly appreciate that about them. They're more rugged, I guess, type females, if you will, in general, as a whole. I certainly appreciate that thing about them. They also are a breed that can certainly have a lot to offer, whether you're a commercial guy, seed stock guy, whatever side of the path you land on there. This breed certainly has a lot to offer as well. It's been fun. Enjoyed working with all the breeders out here thus far today. I'll go get you a champion in reserve. Thank you.
Our grand champion Simmental female was entry 1445. JSUL TSSC Sherry Cola, exhibited by Justin Teeter of Cleveland, North Carolina. Reserve grand champion was entry 1442, BCH Shelby 02J, exhibited by Grady McGrew of Gypsy Creek Ranch in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Really complete kind of calf to start this class off with it. I think he certainly puts the most positive things together in terms of muscle shape and correctness. A bull that you certainly appreciate him for the extension he has out through that front 1/3, lays in fairly smooth relative to his bone structure and his muscle mass. You get behind him, certainly a bull that's got some width right through the center of his round and down into his stifle. Just really complete kind of young Herdsire prospect. I think the next bull in line, probably in terms of type and kind, for me most closely follows. I'll readily admit we're giving up a little bit in terms of performance relative to the two calves standing just below this one. But I think when you study this calf in terms of his structure, when we can see that he's maybe not, to this point in his life, not showing the performance that we have in the two calves just below him, he's still, in terms of his structure, certainly acceptable in that regard, and I think matches our calf we're leading off with quite nicely. The big performance bull is next in line. Certainly you appreciate this bull for his growth rate to this stage in his life. I guess I'd like to see a little more depth in his muscle shape. He runs out of gas kind of in that lower part of his stifle. Maybe gets a little plainer off his hind leg when he gets out on the move. A bull that we would want to keep studying as he develops and bulks up as he gets older. Certainly got a lot of frame. If he adds some muscle mass to that frame later on in life, certainly one we'd need to watch. Bull we're going to end the class with, I think, in terms of structural design, I probably want to change the most about within this class. Maybe lay his shoulder back, give him a little more angle to that front end. When he gets out on the move, as you can see, he kind of wants to crawl up in that top, get under himself, and may not cover his track as well as some of the calves ahead of him.
Back to the semi side of life here, guys. We've got Cole and Chase out here with us. Or Chase and Cole, I should say, in order. I'm going to start the classes of the bulls. This is going to be your champion and reserve champion bull here for the Simmental show as well. I'm going to go ahead and give the advantage to Chase's bull calf here, the blaze-faced red calf here. Just a lot of shape, and he does a good job of showing that one. When you get off of that one, that calf gives you a good look from the side, and I think he balances up just a little bit neater than the bull we're going to use in second. And the bull, I should say, is going to be your reserve champion bull. Not to take anything away, I think we got a really high-quality black bull calf here that we're going to come out and make reserve champion of your show here today. A lot of practical utility in that bull. You like that center rib shape and shape that he's got. Has some top shape and dimension. He's getting a little excited there. That's okay. Maybe wasn't neaten him up, I guess, and compared to his front third there when you compare him to his contemporary out here in his class. But Simmental show's been fun, guys. I don't know if we got some group classes or not coming in. Semis. Got a few semi-group classes coming in, but my compliments to the Simmental breeders. It's been fun here today, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hayes. We're now ready for your Simmental Junior Gettysar entries. Congratulations to the Harwood boys. Entry 1449. LCSC Red Rider K120. sired by THSF Loverboy out of CHS/HFS Alley High, exhibited by Chase Harwood of Little Creek Scimitals in Falston, Maryland. First place Spring Bull Calf, Champion Junior Bull Calf, and Grand Champion Scimitar Bull of the 2022 Maryland State Fair. Second in class, Reserve Junior Champion Bull Calf and Reserve Grand Champion Scimitar Bull, entry 1448, LCSSC Top Gun, sired by THSF Loverboy, exhibited by Colt Harwood of Little Creek Livestock in Forest Hill, Maryland. We're now ready for your Junior Get of Sire Scimitars.
On the Shorthorn side, Class 28 Spring Bull Calves. First place went to Lee Holland with Perfect View Jimmy. Second place went to Lee Holland with Perfect View Monty. Third place went to Ryan Leister with CC Farm Montana. Fourth place went to Nicole Green with GMA Mighty Max. And fifth place went to Lucas Barnett with Dynamite. Class number 29 Junior Bull Calves. First place went to Turner Shorthorns with TRN Panzer 172. Second place went to Turner Shorthorns with TRNR Medallion 92 ET. Third place went to Samantha Heston with HHF Randall. And fourth place went to Joshua Mummert with SJQ Kojo 2203BWX. And our champion junior bull class calf went to Turner Shorthorn with TRN Panzer 172, and reserve went to Lee Holland with Perfect View Jimmy.
In our Shorthorn show, we've got a single entry here. Bull is certainly displaying a tremendous amount of red meat and muscle. Certainly need to appreciate him for that. Bull, it has some boldness to his rib cage. If I wanted to criticize him, I'd like to lay him back in that front shoulder. Wants to get over in that front end just a bit and open up, particularly when you put him out on the move. But just a really powerfully muscled young Hertz-Sire prospect.
I would like to congratulate Pondview Farms in the Scimitar Show for being our premier breeder and exhibitor. Congratulations. Shorthorn Plus, we have a few classes of bulls. I would assume we would start around the 5:30 time.
Nice bull to leave off the class here in the Shorthorn show. Just really long-sided bull. When you get behind him, certainly got some muscle, meat, and mass to him. Certainly got some rib shape. Bull that gets out and travels quite nicely. I mean, big-footed, covers his track. I think just handles this class quite handily. The bull in second, certainly a big bull in terms of frame size. Probably like to see a little more lower muscle shape to him, maybe a little bolder in his rib shape, but still a bull you appreciate for his performance and growth in terms of his frame at this stage of his life.
On the Shorthorn side, Class 41 March Yearly Bull, Colby Huff won first with TRN Hooligan 291, and that was also the junior champion bull. Class 46 Summer Senior Yearling Bull, first place was Samantha Heston. That's also your champion, your senior champion bull. And second place went to Lucas Barnhart with GMA Mighty Jacks. And that as second, and that's also your reserve senior champion bull. We should be getting all the champions in for the selection of our grand champion Shorthorn bull.
Over here on the Shorthorn side, our grand champion was exhibited by Samantha Heston, HHF Sampson the Charmer, and our reserve is exhibited by Turner Shorthorns, TRNR Panzer 172. So we'll do our group classes and then we'll take pictures. Shorthorn Plus exhibitors, be ready with your cow calves to come to ringside. That's fine. Keegan McGrew, you need to come up and get your paper. Keegan McGrew, you need to come up and get your paper for the Supreme Drive, please. And if you want a champion cow, calf, heifer, or bull for the Supreme Drive, I will need your paperwork turned in. Thank you. Attention in the barns, a Android phone was found off the dock. If anybody's missing an Android phone, let me know. Come on up here. Can the group classes start coming into the ring, please? Group classes, come into the ring. If you're not done your pictures, then you're going to have to wait. We need to get this show over. We got to get the Shorthorn Pluses rolling. So if we can get our group classes into the ring, we should have pair of calves. We're not ready for pluses yet.
I got one here. I got one here for you.
We should have class 53 in the ring, pair of calves for the Shorthorn show. Pair of calves in the ring, please. If you are in the picture area and not in this class, you need to leave the show ring. Thank you.
group of 2 bulls in the Shorthorn show. First went to Turner Shorthorn. Second went to Samantha Heston. Third went to Lee Holland. Pair of calves. First to Turner Shorthorn. Second to Lee Holland. Third to Turner Shorthorn. Fourth to Lee Holland. And fifth to Ryan Leister. Class 54, senior get a sire. First place went to Ryan Leister. Results of your produce of dam class in the Shorthorn. First place went to Samantha Heston. Second place went to Ryan Leister. Third place, Turner Shorthorns. And fourth place, Nicole Green. Now we should have the breeders' best 5. We should have Ryan Leister, Turner Shorthorn, Lee Holland. Breeder's Best 5 Head in the Shorthorn show. First place went to Lee Holland, second to Turner Shorthorn, and third to Ryan Leister. Shorthorn pluses. Excuse me, that's not correct. Sorry about that. The best 5 head, first place went to Turner Shorthorn, second to Lee Holland, and third to Ryan Leister.
Okay, Shorthorn Plus people, we're going to start. So we should have some cow calves down here. Shorthorn Plus exhibitors, if your cow calf is here, bring it into the show ring. It should be Nicole Green. If she's here, if not, we'll give her a few minutes. Shorthorn Pluses, there's not a lot of you, so go ahead and bring them all down. We can use one side of the ring for a makeup area and the other side of the ring to show on. So feel free to bring them down and get them lined up, ready to rock and roll. You can tie them to the fence if you want. Get her done. Let's get her done, people.
Yeah, sure. Good afternoon. On behalf of the Maryland Shorthorn Association, I would like to present the A. Jack Downen Memorial Scholarships. This Memorial Scholarship Fund was created through the Maryland Shorthorn Association when Jack Downen passed away in June 2020. The scholarship is presented to 2 current Maryland Junior Shorthorn Association members. The first recipient is Samantha Dixon of West Friendship, Maryland, who is a freshman at Juliet Junior College in Juliet, Illinois, majoring in agriculture, production, and management. She is not with us today since she is at school. The second recipient is Mackenzie Zepp of Westminster, Maryland. She's attending Harrisburg Area Community College in York, PA, majoring for LPN in nursing. Congratulations to these 2 young ladies.
Yay!
How much is it for, do you know?
$200.
Oh.
Maybe it might be $250. Hey, don't blame the bull.
Okay, so we're ready with the Shorthorn pluses.
Yep.
And you're still working on the...
Yep, I'm
okay.
almost done.
Well, this one I can do. One. Now I know why he's helping out there.
What?
Now I know why the Guyman boy's helping. That's his cousin. They're related to the Greens. The Guyman boy is related to the Greens. They're cousins or something. I know what, if there's no banners. Those banners should have been given out.
I know. Attention in the barns. If you won a reserve grand champion cow, calf, heifer, or bull and did not get your banner, it's up here at the announcer stand. You feel free to come get it. Any of the reserves, all the champions, the grand champions will be mailed to you.
Kicking off the Shorthorn Plus show here with a cow-calf pair, certainly showing some productivity at this stage of her life. I told them that I won't make them walk them again, as I can relate. My back's getting a little sore, and I'm not wanting to move as well as I did earlier in the day. So congratulations on the cow-calf pair.
All right, we have moved into the Shorthorn Plus show. We need Class 4 Spring Heifer Calves, Madeline Rhodes, Lee Holland, Shay Joe Quinn, Livestock. Please bring your animals down to the ring. Our champion cow calf was exhibited by Nicole Green. Cow's name is Harrietta Ann, bred by Doddard.
Madeline Rhodes, your Mad CMF Lisa, should be in the show ring.
I think really a complete effort to start out with in this Shorthorn Plus show. Certainly, when you view her from the side and he gets her set up, heifer that's very pleasing to the eye. Certainly has some rib shape, some width of base. Maybe when she gets off on the move, she gets a little stiffer maybe in her spine than I would consider ideal. Wants to get up in that top just a bit, but still really an attractive heifer calf that wins this class fairly handily. The next heifer in line, again, a long-sided heifer, certainly has some mass to her. Maybe not has the style off the hind leg. Maybe when she gets out on the move is the heifer just ahead of her. Maybe not quite as bold in her rib shape as the heifer that wins the class. The heifer we're going to end the class with, just giving up a bit in terms of overall performance and muscle shape and rib in this particular class.
Over on the Shorthorn side, I would like to congratulate our premier breeder and our premier exhibitor. Our premier breeder is Turner Shorthorns, and our premier exhibitor is Ryan Leister from Cornerstone Cattle Farm. So congratulations to both of them. You will get banners mailed to you. Again, our premier breeder is Turner Shorthorns, and our premier exhibitor is Cornerstone Cattle Farm. Congratulations. Results of our Shorthorn Plus Class 4 Spring Heifers. First went to go to Bernard with HAA Lady Liberty, which is an add-on. Second went to SJQ Demi from Sajo Quinn Livestock. And third went to Lee Holland Perfect View Vanilla. Now in the ring we have Class 5 Junior Heifer Calves.
Really a nice heifer in this single entry class. Certainly like this heifer in terms of her style and eye appeal, really chiseled nicely up through that front end, has the right angle to the shoulder when she gets out, certainly covers her track really loose in that spine and her movement. Just a deep, soggy, boldly sprung kind of a young female that I think has a great future.
Attention in the barns, attention in the barns. The Supreme Drive will not start before 6:30. Once again, we will not start before 6:30. I'm assuming that it's going to be 6:30 with our cow calves. We are going very nice pace over here with the plus show. So 6:30 for the Supreme Drive, starting with cow calves. I would like to reintroduce our judge for you guys over here on our Shorthorn Plus side. We have Mr. Alan Smith from Caldwell, Texas. He's been here with us all day sorting out cattle. He is a purebred Angus cattle producer. He works for USDA Natural Resource Conservation for the past 20 years, and he has judged numerous breeds of cattle all over USA from county to national level. Let's give him a big round of applause. He's been out here all day. And just so everyone knows, several of our shows here are point shows, our Shorthorn show, our Charolais show, our Hereford show, and then our Angus show is a state contest. So we do have some pretty decent shows going on here, and a lot of this will go up to the national level. Once again, Supreme Drive, not before 6:30. Over on our Shorthorn Plus side, we have our champion junior heifer calf exhibited by Aubrey Robertson and our reserve champion junior heifer calf exhibited by Dakota Bernard. Now in the class, we have Class 9 early senior heifer calves.
I think the heifer we're leading off with here handles this class fairly handily, just in terms of what I'm looking for soundness and muscle shape and depth of forerib and depth of flank. You get behind her, certainly she's wide at both ends when you get behind her and in front of her. Just a really sound heifer relative to this class, most complete. The next heifer, two heifers, kind of give and take. We're going to go with a heifer that's got, I think, a little more in terms of muscle mass. Heifer that's probably just as sound, if not sounder, than the heifer just below her. Just probably a frame score smaller, but still long side. Still has some depth of rib, depth of flank. You get behind her, and I think when you compare the second to the third, that's where she probably moves ahead of the heifer that we're going to end the class with. The heifer we're ending the class with gets a little bit up in her top, gets under herself, doesn't flex maybe as well as the two heifers on the move that lead the class off, but still a really functional kind of heifer.
Results of Class 9. First went to Annette Braun, Harmony Farms with HFA Fool's Legacy. She's also our champion senior heifer calf. Reserve went to Inners Family Farm, Wood Camp Lady NF. She will be our reserve senior heifer calf. And third went to Nicole Green, GMA Lucy. Now in the ring, we should have Class 12, late senior yearling heifer.
Really thick, muscular kind of female that you certainly appreciate her for her mass, her bone structure. Heifer that's relatively sound out on the move, fairly loose in her spine, covers her track quite well. Maybe you want to clean her up just a bit up through that 1/3 if I was going to change anything about her, but still just a really functional, really wide-based kind of a Shorthorn Plus female.
In the Shorthorn show, Class 12 late summer yearling heifers. First went to Colby Huff with Woodcamp Golden Lime. Now in the ring we have Class 16 April junior yearling heifers.
Two heifers, I think, very contrasting in their style and design. We're going to go with a little more moderate framed heifer of the pair. I think she's a little more sound in terms of her movement. Certainly a little thicker and fuller out over her hip and down her top. Certainly a heifer that's carrying maybe a little more flank and forerib. I think the main place she excels is in her movement. Up through her front 1/3, that shoulder lays back with a little more desire in terms of the angle, a little more feminine and refined up through her front one, head and neck, her front 1/3. The next heifer in line, certainly need to appreciate her for her frame to this point in her life. Certainly a fast-growing female, but a female that gets a bit steep at both ends in terms of her movement. You put her out on the move, she labors a bit as far as taking a good long stride. Maybe could be a little fuller and level her out over that hip, but still appreciate the performance that she has exhibited to this point in her life.
On the Shorthorn Plus side, Class 16, first went to Isabel Thompson with Cave Miss Ivy Ann. Second went to Logan Barnett with CCF Margarita. Now in the ring we have Class 17, March Junior Yearling Heifers.
Really a nice heifer to lead off this class. I certainly appreciate a lot of things about her. Certainly a really long spine female. Relatively square out over her hip. Not perfect in that regard, but certainly adequate in this particular class. You get behind her, certainly appreciate the width of base that she does possess. Super feminine up through that front end. Really nice angle, I think, to her shoulder. When you put the heifer on the move, she certainly covers her track. Just a really, really good, complete kind of a female to start this class with. The heifer behind her, a female, again, to this stage in her life, sure exhibiting a lot of performance in terms of her frame size. Big, powerful kind of female that push down pretty heavy on the scales. but just a heifer that, as I analyze her, I'd probably like to change her at both ends in terms of fullness out over her hip, maybe the way she sets that hind leg down when she gets off on the move, and maybe just set that shoulder back a bit and clean her up through that front 1/3. But certainly appreciate the performance to this stage of the game for her.
Over on our Shorthorn Plus side, results of Class 17. First went to Reese McNuck with Don Margie, 07 ET, and second went to Lee Holland, CF Mastis, 169. Now in the ring, we have Class 18, Branson Taylor with AMW Hensley. Ellie Baker or a representative of Ellie Baker, I need you to the announcer stand to fill out your paperwork for the Supreme Drive. Ellie Baker, winner of the All Other Breeds Cow Calf, I need you to ringside. Announcer stand.
Really a broody, deep-sided heifer in this single entry class. Appreciate her in that regard. Heifer that maybe I'd like to just give her a little more femininity throughout. Change her maybe up through that front 1/3 in terms of her shoulder and neck region, but still you appreciate the mass that she does have, the depth of rib. We'll appreciate her for those attributes in this single entry class.
Results of Class 22. First went to Branson Taylor with AMW Hesley. Next in the ring, we will have our junior champion heifer drive. If someone from the Hardwood family can come, I need your paperwork for the Supreme Drive on the Scimitar Bull. Hardwood family, Scimitar Bull paperwork, please. Thank you. Our champion junior heifer is exhibited by Reese McNutt, Don Margie. Our reserve is exhibited by Lee Holland with CF Mastis. Now in the ring, we have David Bowman with our early summer yearling heifer. Following the selection of this class, we will go right into our grand champion heifer and then right into our bull class. We will not take pictures to the conclusion of the show. We do have a pair of calves, one exhibited by Nicole.
Another single entry in the Shorthorn Plus. I think a female that's certainly got some useful parts, certainly really long-sided, long hip. Female that's certainly showing you that she's about to go into production. Female that maybe as far as her udder development at this stage, maybe like to see it a bit more balanced, but certainly appreciate the fact that she's showing you that she's got a calf in her, ready to go work here pretty shortly. When you start studying the female in terms of her structure, I mean, certainly adequate in that regard, really extended out through that front end, really a long-sided, powerful kind of a young Shorthorn Plus female. Again, at the risk of sounding like a broken record, and I really don't care if I do, pleased with the lineup when they come out from the calf all the way back. For the few number of head that we had in this show, certainly pleased when we get these cattle out here together. I think you see some bits and pieces in each one of them that you could certainly use in your program. Get these cattle mated to the right bulls, these females, and I certainly think each one of them has something to contribute. Not going to go through again. We've talked each one of these in class as we've moved through them. I think there's a couple of heifers out here that I think go together really nicely. When I first started studying these, from class all the way through their divisions, probably thought it was a little easier maybe than when I get out here and start studying them together. But I think it does break apart the way I'm going to do it today. Congratulations to you Shorthorn Plus breeders, a really nice set of females.
Our champion AOB was exhibited and bred by Reese McNutt, Don Margie. My bad, Shorthorn Plus. Once again, our Shorthorn Plus heifer is exhibited by Reese McNutt, Don Margie, 07ET. Who was reserved? Aubrey Robinson was reserved with GCR Dream on Primo. Let's go ahead and finish our show before we take pictures. Please, we're almost done. We only have bull calves and then we can take all the pictures. We are still on track to start Supreme Drive at 6:30, provided all of our group classes and bulls are here. So we should have our bull class. We should have class 28 spring bull calves in the ring now. Thank you. At this time, I would like to thank our ring help for our Shorthorn and our Shorthorn Plus show, Miss Danette Trump and Mr. Donnie Braun. Donnie helps me every year. I drag him away from his kids, and I super appreciate everyone's help. And then we've got Miss Bowman and crew. Her crew keeps growing over here on the ribbon handing out.
Really nice bull calf to lead off this class, I think, in terms of muscle, true muscle when you get behind the bull. He's the wider base to the pair. Certainly a bull is correct enough in his design relative to the class. Just a bull that fairly nice up through that front end, certainly gets out and covers his track. Handles his class again fairly handily. The bull here in second, maybe giving up quite a bit in terms of performance to this stage of the game, to the bull that leads off the class. Certainly a young man that has got a lot of future ahead of him, though.
Results of Class 28 Spring Bull Calves. First to Turner Shorthorns, TRNR Dropbox 252, and second to Nicole Green, GMA Winston. Now in the ring we have Class 29 Junior Bull Calves. Attention in the barns, we are good to go starting at 6:30 with our cow-calf pairs. Everybody will enter down the center of the building. So we will start with our cow-calf pairs, 6:30 cow-calf pairs.
Really nice calf in this single entry class, really long-sided, long spine bull. You get behind him, he doesn't disappoint in terms of his muscle shape, carries that down into his stifle quite nicely. Bull that's really nice up through that front 1/3, chiseled out in that shoulder, really hooks in good with his neck into his shoulder, put him on the move, and he's adequate in terms of his movement, covers his track. Just a really complete, nice young herd sire prospect. Well, we're a little short on numbers with bulls, but I think we got two really high-quality calves to take a look at for the championship drive. As I said, I just got done talking to these calves. Very similar in terms of their design. I think one just has a little bit more in terms of overall length of side and muscle and correctness, just all the things we've been talking about at length today. But both these calves, I think, suit kind of what I'm looking for in a breeding program. We'll go out and pick a couple of them here.
Our champion bull for the Shorthorn Plus is exhibited by David Bowman, Bowman's Blue Bear. He will be your junior champion and overall champion bull. And reserve is Turner Shorthorns TRNR Drop Box 252. I need paperwork from the Bowmans, and I need paperwork from Nicole Green, Cow Calf, Supreme Drive. You guys should be heading this way. I know, it's coming. And I.
There should be one pair of calves from Nicole Green.
In the Shorthorn Plus show, the bull was exhibited by Bowman Family Shorthorns. All right, in the Shorthorn Plus show, our premier exhibitor was Nicole Green, Gorgeous Morning Acres, and our premier breeder is Bowman Family Shorthorns. Congratulations. You will get a banner in the mail. Our cow calves should be making their way down the aisle. We're going to go in alphabetical order, which is Angus, AOB, Charlet, Heifers, Shorthorn, Shorthorn Plus,